Down there, life continues. The traffic is awful, stocks go on trading, and Star Trek is still showing. Down there, life continues. The traffic is awful, stocks go on trading, and Star Trek is still showing.
Good day, grade 8 natural sciences learners. Welcome to our first live lesson in 2024. My name is Tobengile Tebe, and this program is proudly brought to you by the Howden Department of Education. Our knowledge area this term is life and living, and our topic is photosynthesis and respiration. Let's check our lesson objectives. Remember, by the end of the lesson, you should have had identified the main source of energy, explain the need for energy by living organisms, explain the process of photosynthesis, identify the requirements and products of photosynthesis, and also write the word equation for the process of photosynthesis. We're also going to explain the process of respiration and identify the requirements and product for respiration. Then we'll write a word equation for respiration. And we find all this in the CAPS document, page 35. Let's check the pre-knowledge. Remember, when we're talking about pre-knowledge grade 8, we are talking about prior knowledge, the knowledge that we already have. Remember, when you were in grade 5 and 6, you did photosynthesis. What did you talk about? You talked about the sun as the ultimate source of energy. You remember? Good. And then the plants need the sun. All right? They need the sun. They also need carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. They also need water from the soil. And then photosynthesis will take place. Remember, plants are producers. They produce their own food. All right, let's move on. And the other thing, if you see there are arrows here in our picture, we've got the sun here. The plants need the sunlight, all right? And then we said carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. You can see the arrows there pointing to the plant. And then water from the soil. And then what do we get from the plants? We get oxygen, all right? We also get what? Sugars. That is food. Do you get it? And then we're also going to enjoy ourselves because we're going to learn about respiration as well. You'll see that the energy that is being produced by the sun is very good for the plants. Okay, let's move on. Baseline activity. First question, list the 7 life processes. Question number 2, choose the words from the word box to complete the following sentences. Write the sentences out in full. We've got organic and inorganic material, photosynthesis, water, air, roots, sand, and rocks. Then A, the process when the green plants make food is named. Then B, water and minerals are absorbed by the of plants, and then soil is made up of and I'll give you 3 minutes to complete that baseline activity. Are you done, grade 8 learners? Hope you are done. All right, we are going to revise together, then we are going to mark our work. Question number 1 says, list the 7 life processes. The 7 life processes are movement, reproduction, sensitivity, growth, breathing, excretion, and feeding. Let's mark together grade 8. And then question number 2, choose the words from the word box to complete the following sentences. Write the sentences out in full. We've got organic and inorganic material. We've got photosynthesis, water, roots, sand, and rocks. Right. And then 2A says, the process when the green plants make food is named what? It is named photosynthesis. Remember what we said about photosynthesis. We said plants are producers. What do they need? They need the sunlight, they need carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and they also need water from the soil, right? Then photosynthesis is going to take place. That's when the plants are making their own food. And then B, water and minerals are absorbed by the roots of plants. Okay. And then C, soil is made up of sand, rock, organic and inorganic material. That is the soil components. All right, hope you did very well. Let's go to terminology. When we're saying terminology, we are going to define terms. It is very important for you to define terms. Make sure you understand these terms. Why am I stressing on this? It is because in your examination, you are going to come across definition of terms. And if you grasp them now, these are going to be giveaway marks. All right, you just totalize the section of definition of terms. Remember, we are defining terms now as you're in grade 8 up to grade 12. You'll be defining terms. So make sure you understand. If you've got a problem and you don't understand, make sure you ask. You ask us. Our number is 079 578 2908. Our number again, 079 578 2908. Make sure you send us a WhatsApp text. Okay? Don't call, don't send a voice note, just write a WhatsApp text. All right. We've got an amazing team behind the scenes who are going to help you. All right. The first term that we're going to define is photosynthesis. All right. How can we define photosynthesis, grade 8? Remember what we said about photosynthesis. In your mind, picture the sun. All right? Are you picturing the sun in your mind? Yes, you are picturing the sun. And then picture a plant. Okay? And then carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and water from the soil. This is what is needed for photosynthesis to take place. And the plants are producers. Why are we saying plants are producers? Because they produce their own food. All right. And then animals are consumers. We don't produce our own food. We depend on the plants. All right. Therefore, we are consumers. All right, let's check photosynthesis. The process whereby green plants use the light energy from the sun, carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and water from the soil to produce food in the form of glucose and oxygen. All right, these are the products. All right, when photosynthesis is taking place, sunlight is needed, carbon dioxide is needed, water from the soil is needed for the plant to grow and make its own food. Remember, we said plants are producers. And then the plant is going to give us what? It's going to give us oxygen that we breathe in. The oxygen that is needed to release the energy from food. That is respiration. Remember, our topic is photosynthesis and respiration. All right. And it also gives us sugars. All right. It gives us glucose. And someone might say, what is glucose? Glucose is a simple sugar. All right. That is food. And then the plant gives us food in different parts of the plant. For example, if we look at the leaves, we eat leaves. You remember which leaves we eat? We eat spinach. That's a leaf. All right. We also eat stems. Which stem do we eat? Remember, we eat celery. Okay. And we also eat roots. Roots. How do we eat roots? We eat roots in the form of potato, parsnips, even carrots. That's a root. All right. And then we also eat plants in the form of what? Fruits. We eat tomatoes, we eat bananas, we eat apples. Those are fruits. Therefore, almost each and every part of a plant, we consume it. All right. Remember, animals are consumers and plants are producers. They produce their own food. All right. That is photosynthesis. And then let's go to the next term. The next term is chemical reaction. What do you think chemical reaction is, grade 8? It is a process in which one or more substances are converted to one or more different substances or products. That is chemical reaction. And then we've got radiant energy in the form of energy that the sun produces. That is radiant energy. All right. All right. Let's move on to other terms. Okay. We've got glucose. What is glucose? Glucose is a simple sugar. All right. And then we said the plants give us what? They give us oxygen so that we breathe. All right. And they also give us what? They also give us sugars, that is food. All right. For example, if we eat, we will have energy. And how do we get energy from the food? It is because of breathing. Oxygen is needed in the respiration process. We need to breathe so that there will be a release of energy from the food. All right. And then when we breathe, how do we breathe? We inhale. All right. And then once energy is being released from the food, the carbon dioxide produced is being squeezed out from the lungs. Okay. All right. Let's move on with our terminology. And then we've got chloroplast. These are small structures which are inside the cells of the leaves and stems of what? Of green plant. Okay. And then chlorophyll. This is the what? The green pigment in the cells of plants that absorb radiant energy. That is chlorophyll. Okay. And then we've got respiration. This is the process in which energy is released from food in a series of chemical reactions. What did we talk about here? Remember, for respiration to take place, we need to inhale oxygen. All right? When we inhale oxygen, what happens? Energy is being released from the food. Because we need energy to do different things. For example, now we are learning. We have eaten something, we are energetic. We've eaten something, we've got energy now, right? And when we go for lunch, we'll eat something, all right? we eat food, then will be energetic. All right. We need energy to do different activities. All right. And when we go to break time, you will play, stretch, and talk with your friends because you've got energy. All right. Energy is needed. That's why we say the sun is the ultimate source of energy. All right. And then what about a byproduct? This is a secondary product and it is made in the synthesis of something else. That is a byproduct. Okay. And then need for energy. All living organisms need the energy to sustain life. For example, we've got 6 kingdoms there. All these kingdoms need what? Energy to sustain life. Energy in an ecosystem is linked to food because energy is stored in food, compounds inside plants and animals. Remember, we've said the ultimate source of energy is the what? It is the sun, when we are talking about the process of photosynthesis. And then the plants will produce food. Then animals are going to consume the food, right? We are dependent on the producers. The producers are the plants. We are dependent on them. Because when photosynthesis takes place, and then the plants provide food for us, then there will be a food chain, all right? You see what is happening now? Photosynthesis takes place. Animals feed on the plants. For example, we can say herbivores are going to feed on the plants. And then what's going to happen? Those herbivores that are feeding on the plants are going to be consumed by the secondary consumers. And the secondary consumers are the omnivores. And then what are the omnivores? The omnivores are those animals that feed on plants and meat. For example, dogs are omnivores, pigs are omnivores, we are omnivores because we eat plants, we also eat meat. And then we've got the tertiary consumers. We've got the cannibals, which are going to feed on the animals. They feed on meat, all right? And we've got different types of cannibals. We've got the scavengers, we've got a lot of cannibals. Those animals that feed on meat. We've got the predators. For example, the lions, the tigers, the leopards that feed on what? On meat. And then energy in an ecosystem is linked to food because energy is stored in food. Compounds inside animals and plants. And then the sun is the source of energy in an ecosystem. Now we're talking about an ecosystem. We are talking about the link, all right, between the plants and different types of animals. Like we have said, we've got the primary consumers, okay? We've got the secondary consumers and the tertiary consumers. And all these are dependent on the energy that we get from the plants. Remember, we said plants are producers, and then the herbivores are the primary consumers. If I say herbivores, I'm talking about animals like goats, cows that will feed directly on the plants. They will eat the leaves of the trees. They will also eat the grass. They are dependent on the vegetation. And then we've got the secondary ones. We've got the omnivores that will feed on the both plants and animals. And then we've got the carnivores that are going to feed on animals only. All right. And then energy is flowing. All right. Energy flows from the sun to plants, then the animals in an ecosystem. All right. Then there will be a linkage. All right. There will be a link in between the energy flow. All right. For example, this is a nice chart here. of 6 kingdoms. All right. All living organisms need energy. All living organisms need energy. All right. And then the sun is the ultimate source of energy in all living things on earth. All right. Green plants depend on the energy from the sun to make food. And then plants capture the sun's energy through the process of what? Through the process of photosynthesis. And let's have a look at a nice picture then. All right. This is the sun. We have said the sun is the ultimate source of energy. All right. And then the plant needs sunlight. The plant needs carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. The plant needs water from the soil. And then the plants will grow and make food. Do you get it? Because plants are producers. They produce their own food. All right? And then the animals are consumers. We are going to consume the plants. All right? And then there is a food chain because, for example, you can see a grazer here. It is eating plants. It is eating plants and it is being eaten. And then the animals also being eaten. Then there is a what? A flow of energy. There's energy transfer. Okay. But the ultimate source of energy is the sun. And then that is the need for energy on earth. All living organisms need energy. All right. All right, grade 8. If you've got a question, you can ask us on WhatsApp. The number is 079 578 2908. The WhatsApp number again, 079 578 2908. Ask any question pertaining to this lesson. Okay. Animals depend on plants for food and energy. Energy is coming from the sun. Then the plants are producers, they produce their own food. Then we depend on the plants. That's why plants are very important, grade 8. All right. For example, remember, if you cut a tree, how many should you plant? You should plant 2. You cut 1 tree, you plant 2 trees to replace the ones that were cut. Plants are very important. Okay. They are the ones that give us energy. They give us what? They give us oxygen. That's why we're breathing. Okay. They also give us food. The sun provides energy in the form of what? Of light and heat. All right. That's why we can see in the afternoon. Because it gives us light. And it also gives us what? Heat. All right. That's why we're not freezing. Because there is the sun that is giving us heat energy. Okay. Therefore, the sun is very important, grade 8. And then we've got an activity, grade 8. I'll give you 2 minutes to write the activity. Question 1 says, what is the main source of energy on Earth? 1 point. And then question number 2, why are animals dependent on plants for energy? Another mark. So I'll give you 2 minutes to answer the questions. Are you done, grade 8, writing the activity? Let's check the solutions together. Question number 1 said, what is the main source of energy on Earth? Remember, the main source of energy on Earth is the what? It is the sun. Therefore, let's mark together grade 8. And then, why are animals dependent on plants for energy? The animals cannot produce their own food. Okay? Plants are producers. Plants produce food, and then animals are consumers. We depend on plants to get food. All right. We totalized grade 8. You can just take a picture of your work, send us on WhatsApp. That is 079 578 2908. Just take a picture. I want to see how you've done. Those who have got everything correct, congratulations. And those that didn't get everything correct, don't worry. Listen to the lesson, then you'll understand better. All right, let's move on. Let's look at the process of photosynthesis. Plants rely on the sun for energy. Remember, I said the sun is the ultimate source of energy. Therefore, plants rely on the sun for energy. And then plants make their food through the process of photosynthesis. Okay. For example, let's look at the picture. I've got a very beautiful picture there. We've got the sun here. All right. And then plants need the sunlight. All right. We've got a nice picture of the plant there. And then it also needs carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and water from the soil. All right. And then photosynthesis is going to take place. And then what is the byproduct? It is oxygen and glucose. And then oxygen is also needed for respiration because the food that we eat needs to be broken down and needs the energy to be released from the food. Therefore, respiration takes place and energy is released from the food. Okay. Oxygen is needed. That's why we are breathing in oxygen. We breathe in oxygen, then respiration takes place, and then carbon dioxide is produced and it is pushed out through the lungs. Okay. And then photosynthesis is the process whereby green plants use the light energy from the sun, carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and water from the soil to produce food in the form of glucose and also oxygen. All right, that is the process of photosynthesis, grade 8. Make sure you don't forget that. And photosynthesis takes place in a small structure called chloroplast, which is inside the cells of the leaves and stems of green plants. For example, we've got a very detailed picture there. Plant cells with chloroplasts. Okay, this is a leaf. Okay, and then we've got chloroplasts here. Okay, you can see the chloroplast, and then this one is more clearer. Okay, this is the chloroplast. Inside the chloroplast, we've got the green pigment called the what? The chlorophyll. That is the green pigment, which gives plants their green color. That is chlorophyll. Inside the what? Inside the chloroplast. Do you understand grade 8? Hope so. That's good. Let's move on. And then the process takes place through a series of chemical reactions. Then we are looking at the process of photosynthesis equation. All right. The process takes place through the series of chemical reactions. These reactions can be summarized as follows. We've got the carbon dioxide and water, and then the sunlight, and then the product is the glucose and oxygen. All right. And then glucose, you remember glucose is a simple sugar. In other ways, it is food. All right. And then the oxygen is very important because that is what we breathe in. And it is very important and it is needed. It is needed when the energy is being released from the food. Okay. And then we've got a good picture here. We've got the sun. Then the plant needs what? Sunlight. Okay. And it also needs carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and water from the soil. Then photosynthesis takes place. All right. And then the product, we've got the glucose, that is the sugar, that is food, and oxygen that we breathe in. And it is very important for the release of energy from the food. Okay. And then glucose is a simple sugar and the simplest form of food. Remember, we said we need what? We need energy to do different activities. We need to eat something, right? So that we will have energy to do different activities. For example, we're learning, we've eaten something. That's why we're enjoying this lesson, because we've got energy. All right? And then remember, during break time, we'll go and eat. Then we'll be having what? Energy, because we get energy from the food. The plant absorbs water from the soil and carbon dioxide from the air. All right? For example, here, carbon dioxide and water. Then photosynthesis, it needs sunlight. Then the chlorophyll here, we're given a leaf. And then sugars and oxygen is being produced there. All right. The glucose is stored in the plant as food. Listen very carefully. The glucose is stored in the plant as food, and oxygen is a byproduct that is released into the air. That's why we breathe in oxygen, because it is being released in the air. Are we together? It is being released into the air. All right, we've got activity 2, grade 11s. We've got activity 2, grade 8. All right, this is activity 2, grade 8. We are going to define photosynthesis. 2 marks. We are going to answer question 2 that says, what is the function of chlorophyll in a plant? And then question number 3, what are the requirements and products of photosynthesis? All right, we are going to answer those questions. Grade 8. Remember, you will be grade 11s one day. All right. But for now, let's answer the questions. Grade 8. I'll give you 5 marks. I've done 8. Hope you're done. Let's mark the work together. We're going to find the solutions together. Question number 1 says, define photosynthesis. When you are asked such a question as defining photosynthesis, please make sure you picture what is happening when photosynthesis is taking place. I said, picture the sun, all right? And then carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, water from the soil, all right? And then what is going to happen here? The plant will need the sunlight. The plant will need the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. The plant will need water from the soil. Then photosynthesis will take place, all right? Why are we saying that? It is because plants are producers. Plants produce their own food, all right? And then there are products that are being produced by a plant. We've got the oxygen. We've got the sugars, all right? Which sugars? We've got the simple sugar glucose. That is food, all right? That is food. And we said the plants give us food in their different parts. For example, the leaves of the plants, they give us food. For example, which food do we eat as leaves? The spinach, all right? And then it also gives us food in the form of roots. What is food that is in the form of roots? We've got the potatoes, we've got the parsnips, we've got the carrots. All that is root vegetable, all right? And then we also have the stems of plants that we eat. Which stems are those? We've got the celery that we eat in our salads, all right? And then we also have the fruits. We eat tomatoes, that is the fruit vegetable. We also eat apples, bananas, all those are fruits. Are we together? Good. Then that's why plants are very important in our lives. All right? Photosynthesis is a process whereby green plants use their light energy from the sun, carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and water from the soil to produce food in the form of glucose and oxygen. But if you picture the sun, the plant, carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, water from the soil, then photosynthesis is taking place. And then the product, that is the oxygen that we breathe in, so that the chemical reaction will happen in the food. Energy will be released from the food. Then we'll have energy. That's why we're able to learn. That's why we're able to do different activities, because we've got energy. All right. And then, what is the function of chlorophyll in a plant? What is the function of chlorophyll in a plant? The chlorophyll is very important because it captures the light energy and converts it to a... What does chlorophyll do? What does it do? Chlorophyll in a plant, it captures the light energy from the sun, okay? And convert it to chemical potential energy. All right. And then, what are the requirements and products of photosynthesis? What are the requirements and products of photosynthesis? All right. Requirements. We've got carbon dioxide and water, and also the what? The sun. Okay. And then we've got the sunlight here, and then the chlorophyll. Remember what we said about the chlorophyll. We said it captures light energy and convert it to chemical potential energy. And then what about the products? If we're talking about products grade 8, we're talking about what we get from the plants. We get glucose, okay? And what is glucose? Glucose is a simple sugar. Therefore, if we say we get glucose, in other ways we say we get sugars and we can say food. All right, because glucose gives us what? Energy, that is food. And then also oxygen. All right, and then oxygen is being released in the atmosphere. That's why we inhale oxygen. Do you get it? We breathe in oxygen, and then it aids in the release of energy from the food, all right, in the form of chemical reaction. And then we get energy from the food. Do you get it? Hope you understand this. If you don't, make sure you ask. Our number is 079 578 2908. All right, who totalized this? Let's mark our work together. Mark question 1, question 2, and question 3. All right. With photosynthesis, it's very simple, grade 8, because you just imagine sunlight, carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, water from the soil, and then the plant will produce its own food, it will grow, and the product that it gives us oxygen that we breathe in, that aids in the release of energy from the food, and also the glucose, that is a simple sugar, that is food. Okay, remember, we need food to get what? Energy. All right, let's move on to respiration. Okay, respiration is the process of releasing energy from food. The process takes place in the body cells. Okay, we've got the glucose and oxygen. Then what happens in the mitochondria? And there's a reaction there, a chemical reaction. Then we get carbon dioxide, water, and energy. That's why we said when we eat food, what's going to happen? Oxygen is needed. All right? Oxygen is needed. That's why we're saying glucose plus oxygen, because glucose is food. All right? Plus oxygen that we breathe in. The oxygen is going to release the energy from the food. All this happens in the mitochondria. And then what is the product? We get carbon dioxide, water, and energy. And then carbon dioxide is being pushed through the lungs and out. Okay? It is being squeezed out through the lungs. That is carbon dioxide. Then water is needed in the body, remember? Okay? And then we also need energy. That's why we can learn, that's why we can do different activities. It is because we've got energy, and we get energy from food. All living organisms require or need the energy to survive. All living organisms require or need the energy to survive. And respiration releases energy from food. That is respiration. Okay. Although plants make their food, they also have to break down sugars, that is glucose, to release energy when it is needed. Although plants make their own food, they also have to release energy when it is needed. Okay, we've got cellular respiration here. This is the next picture here. Okay, it happens in the absence of the sun. All right, and then it takes in oxygen, then it releases the what? The carbon dioxide. That is happening in the absence of the sun. Therefore, plants also respire. Plants respire in the absence of light, remember? Okay. When we are looking at respiration, that is glucose plus oxygen, then energy, that is the product. plus carbon dioxide and water. Okay. Oxygen is required for respiration, remember. That's why we are breathing in oxygen, because it is needed, it is required for respiration. Okay, when respiration takes place, then the energy is being released from the food. That's why we need oxygen. The main product for respiration is energy, and the byproducts are carbon dioxide and water. Let's look at the pictures here. You've got photosynthesis, and then we said just imagine the sun as the ultimate source of energy, and then the sunlight is needed by a plant, and then the water from the soil is also needed by the plant, and then the plant is going to produce its own food, and as it produces its own food, it supplies us with food, because animals are consumers, they are not producers. All right, animals are consumers, they are not producers. And therefore the plant will produce its own food and we consume the plant. For example, we say we consume the different parts of the plant. We've got the leaves. We can consume different types of leaves. For example, parsley, we consume the leaves, all right? And then we also consume the stems in the form of celery. And then we also consume the roots, for example, parsnips and potatoes, those are roots. And we also consume the fruits. It can be a tomato, apple, banana. We consume the plants. We are dependent on the plants because we cannot produce food, but the producers are the plants. And then when we look at respiration, it is directly opposite photosynthesis, because cellular respiration takes place in the absence of light. All right, and then it needs oxygen, and then it will produce what? Carbon dioxide. That's why we say plants also respire. All right, they respire. And then let's look at respiration and breathing. Why do we breathe? Since respiration requires oxygen to break down the food or glucose in our bodies to unlock the energy, the only way to get the oxygen is by breathing. All right, if you look at these two pictures here, these are the pictures of breathing. We inhale. When we are inhaling, we are breathing in oxygen. All right, and then that oxygen will aid in the release of oxygen. The oxygen is going to aid in the release of what? Of energy from food. And then exhalation, that is the carbon dioxide that is being squeezed out from the lungs. Okay, that is exhalation. And then when you breathe out, your lungs get rid of the carbon dioxide produced from respiration. And then the difference between photosynthesis and respiration. Food is made when we are looking at photosynthesis. Food is made, food is produced. And why? Because the plants are the producers. And then photosynthesis produces glucose from light energy. Carbon dioxide is used, oxygen is produced. It is a product. It only happens in chlorophyll containing plants, and light is also needed, and it occurs in the chloroplast. What about respiration? When we are looking at respiration, food is broken down and it uses glucose for energy. And then carbon dioxide and water are produced, oxygen is used, and then it occurs in all living organisms. No light is needed, and it occurs in the mitochondria. All right, we've got question number 3. You are going to tabulate the differences between photosynthesis and respiration. I'll just give you a minute to tabulate the differences. Okay, great. 8. I think you have already answered the questions. All right. The question says, tabulate the differences between photosynthesis and respiration. Photosynthesis, photosmelt, produces glucose from light energy, carbon dioxide is used, oxygen is being produced, only happens in the chlorophyll containing plants, and light is needed, and it occurs in the chloroplast. And then respiration, food is broken down. It also uses glucose for energy. And then carbon dioxide and water are produced. Oxygen is used. Remember, oxygen is needed in respiration because the food must be broken down and it aids in the release of energy from the food. And then it occurs in all living organisms. No light is needed, and it occurs in the mitochondria. And then we don't have WhatsApp questions today. Make sure grade 8 you ask. Our number again is 079 578 2908. Okay, we've got homework to copy, and then we're going to write this homework at home, and then you bring the books and show your teacher the homework. All right, I'll give you 3 minutes to copy the homework. All right, grade 8, hope you are done copying the homework. Make sure you write the homework and bring your book to class. All right. And then let's summarize the lesson. Remember what we said about photosynthesis. Light is needed from the sun. Remember, the sun is the ultimate source of energy. therefore need sunlight, all right? And then carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and water from the soil. Then photosynthesis takes place. Remember, plants are producers. They produce their own food. And we are dependent on plants for energy, all right? And then we've got respiration, all right? When we eat food, the food must give us what? Energy, all right? It gives us energy when we breathe in the oxygen, because oxygen is needed, right? Oxygen is needed. Then respiration takes place. That's why we've got energy to do different activities, because it will aid in the removal of energy from food. Okay. And then brief preview of the next lesson. In our next lesson, we're going to look at ecosystems and feeding relationship. So long for now. Goodbye.